Today we're going to be making these super cute, easy 3-step spooky Halloween letters. All right, so we're starting on our spooky, and this is from, I believe these are from Michael's, but they're paper craft mache. They were like $3.50 each, but they were on sale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Gesso, which is a good primer. It'll help stuff stick to the paper mache, but it'll also make it white. So I want the background of the piece of the letters to be white. And I buy Gesso in gallons because I use it all the time. All right, and this is just a crappy craft brush. I'm going to paint all of them white, all the way around, inside, outside, and that will give us a good basis for our project. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is to kind of figure out where I'm going to put the papers. And to do this, I want to get, you can use a water brush on tissue paper, and I made all these Halloween tissue papers the other day. I have a video about it, but you can use a water brush to kind of outline your tissue papers and see how much you have and where you want things to go. Now, I don't want this to be perfect. Like, I don't want any of the lines to be perfect. I don't want it to be half and half. I don't want anything like that. So I'm going to have orange on the top of these and black on the bottom. And I definitely don't want that hard cut row at the bottom. I want this to be very organic. So there we go. That can go over there. Then I need a piece of this. So I need about, I could probably, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Mod Podge on here, stick it, and then pull off whatever doesn't work. Or maybe even wrap it around the side. We'll see what happens. And since I have it that way, I'm going to kind of make it a, you know, like a checkerboard square. Now this is better tissue paper. This is Tim Holtz collage paper. I can tell because I had the last little bit come off the roll when I was making the tissue paper. So you have to be more careful. It melts still, and it works much better, but it doesn't melt as much as. And I don't know if you know this little tip, but see how this got water in it? You can, with any of the water-based glues, Mod Podge, some of the gel mediums that are water-based, you can actually totally wet your tissue paper and then put it on, and it will be even more translucent than if you put dry tissue paper onto dry glue. And I'll probably try that here, because I want this to be super translucent. All right, we got one more. Oh, and don't freak out if your tissue paper rips. We're gonna be gluing it all down, so it's fine. There's no problem. In fact, I like it that it has a little bit of texture. Okay, let's keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, we got that. And now, for this, I'm going to use Mod Podge. And my Mod Podge continually glues itself shut. Okay, here we go. And I got a nice big brush because this needs to get all over this circle and stick down. So I want a good coating of Mod Podge. I need this to stick. It's not gloopy, right? But it's definitely thicker than, sometimes you want a thin little line of Mod Podge. Not today. You want a little bit of gloop. Okay, so we're gonna put this here. I do want them kind of straight. I don't want them to be crooked. Okay, so there's that one. And let's do this one next, because this one matches that one, right? So we can kind of go crissy-crossy. And then this one goes up here. There we go. And then this one goes right here. And I turned that because that's a little bit of a gloppy place where it didn't have as much like definition for the pull from the gel plate. So that I'm just going to tear off, right, when this dries. So I can use the gloppy place to tear off and save the nice places for somewhere else. Now I want to make sure this gets stuck down, so we're going to do this. Okay, we want to get all these little corners stuck down, right? Where the tissue paper meets. And this was pretty stuck down the beginning. Oh, there we go. We got a little edge. We could go around this a little bit. I will be painting these in the next step, so I'm not sure we need all of this layer, but it can't hurt because the letters are that paper mache, so they aren't super sturdy to begin with. And you know what I'm going to do? I have just decided this. See, on the inside, I'm not going to mess with it because I think we could mess up our inside. But for the outside, I'm just going to go around here. And take this tissue paper right around the edge. That will help us add even more texture. And I'm not, you can see, I'm not being very careful around the corners. You could be the kind of crafter that likes really super crisp corners, but I'm making a spooky Halloween mantle that nobody's going to be right up near, right? So I don't feel like this, like I want a nice clean edge. See how that edge is nice and clean? And I'm going to be painting it. I think because I do so many layers on my work, I know that there's going to be 11 billion layers after this. That's why I don't worry so much about having every single layer be perfect, because with so many layers coming around after it, you don't really have to worry about each individual layer being absolutely perfect. All right, here we go. And then, oh, got a little gloopy in here. And we got another gloopy in there. All right, so now we're gonna let this dry, and I am gonna let this dry real good. I didn't let my gesso maybe dry perfectly, but this I want to dry perfectly. And I'm gonna do all the rest of them, and I'll have you come back when I'm done with that. All right, this is gonna be fun. This is our next step. So These look really cute. If you wanted to, you could peel off the excess around the sides that isn't stuck on. It's not necessary, but you could. And our next step is going to be, I'm going to paint the orange parts first. Ooh, shake your paint, guys. Oh, shake your paint, guys. Okay, so I don't want them to be a solid color. So I'm going to go down to where it comes, but I'm just going to hit it with all different colors of orange because I don't want this to be perfect. Okay, so we're just going to go around. Get in that little crease there. Add some different colors. Look, it didn't mix because I didn't shake my paint can. Okay, this side's a little lighter. Okay, and then let's go ahead, because paint is cheap. Let's just do the back of this. So in case we have it on a place where we want to show the back, it doesn't have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But it's always good to have a little color on the back. Okay, and now I want to do just a little dry brushy edges. On some of them it'll be a little bit more, and on some of them it'll be a little bit less, but I want to get a real, around the outside, I want it to all be orange or black. So that's this next step. Looks kind of cute, and I will bring you back for the next step, which will be the black paint. All right, so on this one, we have to cut around the edges with just a little X-Acto knife. And you can do this from, it might even be easier to do this from the back, to run right along that line. And if you don't have an X-Acto knife, you could use the trick with the watercolor brush, with the water brush, and just wet it and then tear it away. Because this isn't going to matter, right? We got lots of layers and stuff going on, so this is going to be very minor in the grand scheme of things. So don't worry if it pulls a little bit off the front. If it has a little bit extra, we could always go back around and clean it up. There we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come on the front here and pull these. And don't forget, we're going to go around that edge to make that hard orange edge. So if it accidentally pulls a little bit into, you know, a little bit more off than what you wanted, it's not going to make a difference. Okay, now we're going to do the black bottoms. See, the top is all done. And the first, by the time you get around to the back, the bottoms, the fronts are dry. And you can do this perfectly straight, or you can do it however you want. This is your project. I'm probably not even going to cover it completely. I'm just going to be hit and miss. because I like a little, I'm more grungy than perfect. And so you make that call. However much you want on the sides, you can do. You could use a little glaze in here, and then it would be even lighter. And this is just, so again, this is just one tiny piece of a giant mantle I'm doing. So these don't have to be perfect, and it's paper mache, right? So this was a very affordable project. It cost probably $12 total because I had all the paints and the tissue paper and all the stuff already. So if we're just talking the cost to buy these little paper mache letters, this is a super affordable project. I have to say this has been the easiest thing that I have done in a long time. I was just telling my husband that this is maybe the easiest project I have ever done. All right, now I do want to cover all the white on the inside because I want this to be spooky Halloween, not kind of weird white Halloween. And we're going to have to make a decision now. Once we see how this looks, how we see how it looks when it's dry, I'm going to have to decide whether I want to antique the edges or not. But I'm going to have to make that decision after we get this completely done. And I'm just going to go a little bit around the edges here just to make that crisp black line. And you can do it this way. You can rub it a little bit, get a little grungy. You can go like this and it'll just, I mean, just put the weeniest bit of paint on your paintbrush, and then you can just pull it right around. This is not fancy. All right, here we go. We want to merge those two. Let's get this corner, and there we have it. Spoo! Ooh! All right. I'll bring you back for the final or to see if we're doing one more layer. Okay, I decided not to add grunge yet. I can always come back later if I want to add grunge. But here is the whole spooky Halloween set. And then this is what it looks like with the mantle so far.